It's been 5 years since the three amigos, of course, the president of the United States, the president of Mexico, and the prime minister of Canada, which is affectionately referred to as the three amigos. They will be meeting in Washington this week. And the big topic on everyone's mind, of course, will be Buy America. How will Canada fare in these conversations? Well, I couldn't have thought of two better people to bring in and discuss these big, important topics. The Toronto Sun's editor emeritus, Laurie Goldstein, and Toronto Sun political columnist, Warren Kinsella. Our current foreign affairs minister, Melanie Joly, recently had a trip to Washington. Laurie, this whole auto package that President Biden has now signed in to law and is supported by both houses. Canada has a very slim chance of really making any changes at all without going, too granular into it. What is with respect to the Three Amigos Summit, what is the position that Canada is going to be able to put forward to try to impress upon both Mexico and the US that some changes are needed to this auto bill?
I think the mistake that the Trudeau government made when Biden was elected was to talk about friendship. The personal friendship between Biden and Trudeau, and the friendship between Canada and the United States. That's fine. But countries don't have friends, they have interests. And the United States' interests now are in opposition to ours on a number of issues. One of them is Biden's, and in fairness, if Trump had got elected on this, it would have been the same, is Biden's Buy American policy and its impact on the Canadian auto sector that would put us under the gun, because they would give for EV vehicles, they would give us substantial subsidies if the car is manufactured in the United States as opposed to Canada. Well, obviously then Americans are going to buy more cars based on price in the United States. But there are other serious issues. There's Line 5, which is a major pipeline that if the Michigan governor, who's a Democrat, succeeds in canceling out, there's going to be an immediate energy crisis in Ontario, in Quebec. And you talk about partisanship, all the governments, Alberta and Saskatchewan, which would be damaged by this, Ontario and Quebec, which would be damaged by this, and the federal government are all lobbying Biden to intervene in this case by invoking a treaty where the federal government has final say to basically say to the Michigan governor, stop this. This is economic insanity. Then there was a recent decision by the United States by protesters who have voted against a hydro transmission line to put clean energy or transmit clean energy from Quebec Hydro to New England. And voters on the way said, no, they won't do that. And the very first thing that Biden did was he killed the Keystone XL. Mm-hmm. Now, in a sense, less serious because the Keystone XL didn't exist. He just killed it. Okay. But then he goes to OPEC Plus, which is Saudi Arabia and Russia and a bunch of other countries that don't particularly love the Americans. And he asked them to open the spigots on oil flow so he can lower gasoline prices in the United States. And guess what Saudi Arabia and Russia and the members of OPEC said? They said, go pound salt. So Biden, and so you sit there and you go, Stephen Harper was right. We are your best source of energy. Why are you treating us like dirt? I mean, that would be I wouldn't say dirt, but that's the argument I would make to Biden. We are allies. We fought together and bled together in war. We share our economies. We supply you with all kinds of oil and natural gas, the very things you need, right? And then you do these things to us. Unfortunately, I think Warren's right, but the issue is, what sway does Trudeau have right now with the Biden?
So Warren, let me put that to you. You've heard the very reasonable case that Laurie has laid out, and I know that you agree with a lot of what was just said, but particularly with respect to President Biden. I mean, there's this notion always that if it's a Democratic president and a liberal prime minister, there's going to be grand relations between the two countries. And there can be good relations, to be sure. But now our interests do not align. So having volunteered for President Biden and knowing how Justin Trudeau and his demeanor and his behavior is or has been, is there any room for maneuvering with President Biden?
I don't think there's very much room at all. The Americans don't regard Justin Trudeau as a serious player. You know, a few years ago, he was on the cover of Rolling Stone and in their media, and people are hanging all over themselves to pay tribute to him. It's not like that anymore. You know, after blackface, after the SNC-Lavalin scandal, you know, after what his personal conduct, the way in which he has been as a prime minister, he's not such a big deal in the United States anymore. And I think Biden is kind of reacting to him in the way the rest of the world does. You know, he can't get a seat at the UN Security Council. He can't get a pipeline done with our closest and best neighbor. Like, he can't even get the border open as quickly as he wanted. And the Americans took months after us. Like, he's just not delivering. So I don't think that he will. When he is in Washington this week, there'll be some nice pictures and they'll pretend to be besties. But at the end of the day, you know, Justin Trudeau is a diminished figure on the international stage, and that's bad news for Canada. The good news for him is that, you know, the Conservative Party is shooting its feet off again, and that'll provide a distraction for his failures.
And of course, it will be Canadians that pay the financial price for so much of that. Log on to Facebook and Twitter. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And of course, we want to hear from you. So hit the comments below. And we always want to keep you informed and entertained. Please subscribe to our Midday Sun.